My mom and dad had me when they were in high school.
So I was in the first grade, and I had to write an essay of what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I wrote that I was going to be the President of the United States.
Well, when I was in first grade, I was diagnosed with learning disabilities, several learning disabilities actually, and my parents were told I would never graduate high school.
Right after high school, I got pregnant, and my mom basically told me that I ruined my life.
Like, when you say, what is my story, like...
Because I don't know my story. Like, we gotta think of this right now.
My story of how I got here, or
Of your life.
oh gosh.
My story. Oh, where should I start?
I came in knowing I wanted to be a major in psychology. So from there, I got to take a deeper look into the psychology courses. Along with that, I picked out my minor because I eventually went to be a counselor. So really it helped me, and then I took a lot of social work classes. I wanted to go into psychology because when I was 16, I was sexually abused by my biological father. And I had to go through counseling and everything, and for me it was a tough thing to go through, but it changed me, and I want people to understand that when this does happen, you can overcome it, and you just need someone there to support you and talk to. Right after high school, I got pregnant, and my mom basically told me that I ruined my life and I wasn't going to college, and here I am, about to graduate. So, coming to campus, it was a huge, step. I was pregnant my freshman year, so I felt, really out. Jasper was a fairly easy baby, I would say. I mean, there were a few nights where they were endless and I cried on the floor in a little ball. I think I'm more mature because of it. I've taken responsibilities that I wouldn't, imagine taking. I still try to be a kid, and through him I can still do things. I think having him so young, I know I can be there, I can do more with him, and I don't know, it's made me grow, and without him I wouldn't be where I am today. I want at least 3 kids, so got one on the way, so 1 more to go.
Compared to a lot of the other colleges and universities that I went to, Ashland, for one, had the best food. And the professors, the students here were really friendly, really welcoming. It's a really beautiful campus, and it's small, which was in my comfort zone. So when I came here and I was taking different classes, ethics classes especially, I was really opened to a lot of the issues in the world, which has stemmed my interests in all different directions since I've come here. And it's completely changed my career path for sure. I came in as a criminal justice and psychology major. I wanted to do forensic psychology. Now I'm looking into possibly social work, possibly law school. My professors especially recognize in different students, and I know this from experience, they recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, and they kind of build upon those. They allow us to gear our assignments in that direction and to really expand in the interests that we already have. Just last semester, we met this girl that was sexually assaulted, and led that campaign for her, and that had a huge impact. And really when I was working with my internship with the Ashland Center for Nonviolence, we talked about all these big activist humanitarian ideas, but we never really did anything. And so that kind of gave me a reason to do something. And since then I've been more engaged, I think, with the issues that I see, instead of just saying, wow, I recognize that this is happening sucks for them. I think it just overall, it has made me a better person. That sounds super cheesy, but it's opened my worldview. It's made me see that people, the majority of people, have had horrible life experiences, but there's still these great, fantastic people.
Well, when I was in first grade, I was diagnosed with learning disabilities, several learning disabilities actually, and my parents were told I would never graduate high school. Clearly, they were wrong, but it took a lot of hard work, a lot of early intervention. I did occupational therapy 3 times to 4 times a week growing up for several years. I was in learning support my whole life. A disability doesn't define you, so my parents really taught me that, and then that's what made me want to get into intervention specialists. Is I want to help kids that I know I was once like, or I can relate to, and show them that like you can do whatever you want. It takes hard work and it's frustrating, but you can get there if you try. I get to work in schools and start practicing before I'm even a teacher, so it's really great because you do your student teaching and get all that done. So I feel like Ashland really prepares you by putting you in the school system right away in like sophomore year, so you know that this is what you want to do. I was inducted into the education program here, which means that I've almost finished all my requirements, and they're starting to view me as a teacher rather than just a student at Ashland. And just getting that certificate and signing the book with all the other education students that have done it, and just having my 2 favorite professors tell me like, you're on your way, this is it, like you have 1 more semester of education classes and then you have student teaching. That was a big moment for me. A significant event was just living in Scotland, because that's where I feel is home. I lived overseas my whole life, so I got to see a lot of the world and understand a lot of different cultures, which really helps me as a teacher because you have different cultures that come into your classroom. If you could think of any place that's the greatest place for family moments and memories, it's there, because there's so much that it has to offer. So, and I want to go back. That's where I want to teach, so obviously it's made a change in my life. This is such a great, amazing program for the education, and I don't think my friendships would have been as great if I had transferred. I'm honestly so thankful that I stayed here, so I owe a lot to Ashland.
I love art. I was never good academically. Well, it took me a while to learn stuff, and I just hate it. I always hate studying, and I still do now. But with art, either you got it or you don't. And if you don't, you can kind of still teach yourself. It's kind of, you just base yourself off of, it's good enough? Is it aesthetically pleasing? But art is kind of like, at the end of the day, it takes the stress away. I want to make sure I was somewhere small enough that the teacher was going to pay attention to me, especially like in my field. It's very competitive. So I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I was going to get enough attention and that my work was going to be shown and noticed. I like to make bold statements. I've made a couple pieces like based off of gun violence, the shootings in Ferguson and stuff like that. So from there I kind of like stemmed on like adding in my artwork, because it is frustrating to see your own people being shot and killed, but then you hear people around you who just don't care. So why not make a mark, make people pay attention, make them look at it. I really want to be somewhere in like New York or Chicago. I just feel like that's where like the big artists go. It's the fast-paced cities. Mainly just making beautiful art for maybe a firm, maybe. I've had a little bit of experience with it over the summer. I just feel like I just want to be out in the big city doing something I'm passionate about. Being here at Ashland has shaped us a lot, like being a minority. It's been a challenge, but it's been a challenge that I have accepted. I think being here has molded me and shaped me into the person I am today. There's a street here that I think it's called Michael Street, and I have a little brother named Michael. And then my great-grandma's favorite color, who she died of pancreatic cancer, was purple. And then one of the main colors is purple. And there's just a bunch of things that happened, and it was just kind of weird. And I was like, I feel like this is like where I'm supposed to be. Ashland has such a good political science program that I'm already learning so much from it that it'll help me achieve my goals like in the future. My mom and dad had me when they were in high school. So already right there, I was statistically at like a disadvantage. And it was kind of hard going through school, because like in middle school, I always got a lot of, wow, I can't believe like you're here already. Like most kids your age that like come from your circumstances, like already have babies, dropped out of school, and I'm like, oh wow, thanks, that's really helpful. My mom got married to a guy in the military, and when she got married to him, his first station was in Georgia. So I lived in Georgia for a couple of years, and then I bounced around a lot. Like I lived in Florida, I've been to New York, I've been to Kentucky, Tennessee. I've lived a lot of different places, so I've never had like one, I don't know, I've had a lot of different houses, but because a lot of people associate like houses with homes, my home is wherever my family is. So like we could be on the side of the road in a box under a bridge. And as long as I have my family there, I'm home. When my mom was married to my stepdad, they always got in a lot of fights. And I would just sit in my room and I would cry and I would be scared. And there were several times that my mom would like pack us suitcases and was like, we have to leave, like that we can't stay in this house. They're on better terms now. I've tried to let it go, but there's still a lot of resentment towards him from me, I guess. It's a lot of hardships for me that I've had to go through to be the person that I am. But like I don't look back at those hardships and I'm like, oh, I really wish I hadn't gone through that, because if I hadn't, I don't think I would be the person I am today.
So I was in the first grade and I had to write an essay of what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I wrote that I was going to be the president of the United States. And ever since then, I've always followed politics. Like I got really invested into the 2004 election, and I wrote like a paper on it in the 4th grade. And then I got really invested into like local campaigns when I was in high school, like with the school levies and everything. I wrote editorials about it all the time. I campaign managed when I was 18 years old for a local state representative. It's just always been what I wanted to do. I like to pinpoint the first time I ever moved to DC for my first internship. I was 20 years old. I was downtown DC in an apartment complex that had 6 different apartments. In my specific one, I lived with 5 strangers who I'd never met before in my entire life. And there were 6 of us crammed into this little 2-bedroom apartment. And I loved it. And I worked for Congress. It was a crazy time in Congress. I got to meet Paul Ryan and John Boehner and all these big names and just experience political life at its finest, going through briefings and meetings. And the second I left, I knew I wanted to go back. So I did. I went back. I went back for a second summer where I worked for a campaign firm, and I realized that I love campaigns and anything and everything about poll numbers. I'm a nerd. Everyone should know that. I'm a dork. I'm a nerd. But it's okay if you're a nerd to be a nerd for what you love. I've learned what my true calling is. I wouldn't be who I am without Ashland, without the experiences it has provided me between Greek life and Ashbrook and just the community of people. Ashland has made me who I am today.
I really like the campus, and the accounting program and like the business school here is very good. Compared to other schools that I looked at, I really enjoy just the atmosphere here. They definitely try to push towards the more global education, which is a great thing to have, especially in the business world, since you might be dealing with a lot of overseas companies as well. So that's really nice, and they give you like a broad thing that you can definitely do. My mom sings, my grandma sings. I've been in music since I can remember, so that's definitely 100% what I'm passionate about. Definitely getting to sing at Carnegie Hall was an awesome event for me. I will always remember that for the rest of my life, is walking up there singing. I sang with Eric Whitaker as the conductor. We sang a couple of his pieces. We sang a Morton Lordson piece, Shone the Shining Night, and just that whole moment of 1,000 people just watching you sing, which was great. Being in a part of organizations in CFA with all the teachers and professors there, getting voice lessons from Sakura was the great thing to do. She's a great lady, and I'm going to miss her dearly whenever she's gone after this semester. Definitely being a part of Magical Feast, Chamber Singers, all that fun stuff, and also being in Greek life as well. All of these have kind of shaped me in the person who I am today, and it's great. And I wouldn't have done it if I was not at Ashland.
I have social anxiety, so a big school would freak me out and intimidate me, but the small school, I don't know, it just feels like a second home. freshman year, I was taking like basic accounting classes. And I remember getting my first test back, and I got an A on it, and I was just super excited. And I don't know, when I get good grades on accounting tests and stuff like that, I just feel so good about myself, and I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Because of Ashland, I joined Theta Phi, and Theta Phi has really, really changed my life. I would never consider myself a leader before Theta Phi, and now I'm on e-board, which is just crazy. And I applied for an RA position, and I had an interview with Smuckers. It's crazy. Ashland has given me a home. After my parents divorced, I didn't really feel like I was ever home. I was always with my mom or I was with my dad. I wasn't really home. But when I came to Ashland, I felt like I was home.
I want to next semester or sometime next year, I want to do the Disney College program because my ultimate goal, I haven't decided if I want to do like hotel management or if I want to be an event planner, but I know I want to work at Disney because Disney is like my life. Like, I don't know, I love Disney. So that's probably my, like, professionally what I would want to do. Even though it's like a small campus and stuff, the hospitality management program is really, I think it's very good. My advisor, I'm very close with, like, I know I can talk to him about like the Disney College program and all of that. So having people like that, like alumni from this university that can tell you like kind of what to expect going into it, and to be able to have the business professors be able to tell you what classes they can count from there is really helpful. Another significant event that has happened to me at Ashland would probably be taking my first hospitality management course, because coming into the university I had no idea what I wanted my major to be, and I had toyed around with so many options. Like, I knew like my skill sets and I knew I wanted to work at Disney, but I wasn't even sure hospitality management was a thing. So taking that intro class is what made me, and having Renee Rarway as my professor, because he was such a great professor and he loved teaching it so much that it made the students love learning it, is what caused me to want to be hospitality management, and I've never been like so confident in a decision. So growing up, I went to Disney basically every year of my life, sometimes more than once a year. So Disney has always been a big part of my life, and it was like all of my great memories, really, like obviously not all of them, most of my great memories are from like just having family time together at Disney. So I think like all of those vacations combined have kind of led me to why I decided to be a hospitality management major, because I know I want to work at Disney, and it's just like it's my dream job basically. Those were the vacations where me and my family would always all be together, and so to be able to have a place that just reminds me of being with my family, I think can like make it seem all that more magical.
I chose Ashland because I wanted to play golf. I wanted to play at a college level, so this was my best opportunity to do that. And I also fell in love with business school because obviously I played Division II college golf, so I'm probably not going pro. But at the same time, academics were really important to me, and the College of Business was awesome. My mom was born in Lebanon, raised in Paris. My dad was born and raised in Germany, so there's a lot of culture at home. He played professional soccer when he was over there. So growing up, I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old, played all different kinds of sports. I came here thinking that I was just going to be a student athlete, keep getting good grades like I did in high school, and hang out with my teammates. And I was never somebody that thought of myself as joining Greek life or really joining any organizations. I just got elected president of my fraternity, and I am involved in a ton of different things on campus, so it completely changed who I thought I was and who my parents thought I was, and all those different kinds of things. So the past 3 years here has changed me a lot. I mean, I was always a person that cared a lot about other people, but since coming to Ashland, I really became the kind of person that not only wants to improve my own life in everything that I do, but the lives of those around me. So, and I don't think I would have been that kind of person without Greek life. I didn't do a lot of community service or philanthropic giving and stuff like that as a high school kid, and now it's one of my favorite things to do. And giving back to campus and meeting people and doing all that kind of stuff has become something that's almost just as important as sports and things like that were in the past. So my freshman year, second semester in the spring, I was the philanthropy chairman for Fido, and this is kind of when I fell in love with like giving back and doing community service and stuff like that. I had the opportunity to meet a family in Mansfield where the mother, her name is Beth Kesselvetre, she's afflicted by ALS. She's been fighting it, and she's been fighting hard for a long time. She's doing great. So we hosted a golf outing. That was the event that I decided to plan, and we were going to raise money and give all the money to her, and then part of it to her and part of it to ALS Therapy Development Institute in Massachusetts. We ended up raising $5,000 to give to the family, and what the part of all of it that changed me was I really didn't think like I did too much, and then I walked into their house and handed them a check for $2,500, and even though that's something extremely small, it's like a trip to the hospital or something like that, or a little bit of money to go towards her son's college fund, like the look on her face and the look on her husband and son's face when I gave them that money, just knowing that somebody cared is what made me realize that like this is what it's about in life, like giving back to other people and doing what you can to make sure that other people like benefit too. For Ashland, I just want to make sure that this is some place I can come back to and realize that I had some small impact on it that'll change it for the future people that come.
Like I think that me choosing Ashland has really, like that's like a big turning point in my life because it was a decision that I made on my own, and then through coming here I've like immensely grown my faith, and it's become everything that I am, and so that's definitely like the biggest thing I would say that's just like changed me from the inside out. I didn't want to go to a huge school. I mean, dietetics isn't really like offered in a lot of small schools, but Ashland was unique because it was small and it was a private school, and it did offer my major, and it's also decently close to my house. I would say that Ashland has definitely helped me grow individually, you know, like become more responsible and more mature, and I've just been able to like find myself here. So my family has definitely had a huge impact in my life. I have a huge Italian family, and we're always together. We're always over each other's houses, and there's just so much love like with all of us, and I've been really blessed to just be able to have like my cousins around and have them be my best friends. So that's definitely impacted me in a big way. Also, from a really early age, my parents taking me to church and just like introducing me to who God is, you know, and especially like coming here and kind of making my faith my own, and finding out like, you know, okay, like my parents and my Sunday school teachers have always taught me about this stuff, but really finding out like why do I believe what I believe has really made me like the person I am today.
And I kind of did have that moment of like, this is where I needed to be, and basically I came and did the tour, and it was the first time I was on a campus tour that I didn't feel the need to go home. Like I like turned and looked at my mom, and I was like, you could leave right now and I would be perfectly fine. And so it was just it was kind of like an overwhelming experience, but I think it was just that I felt so comfortable here. It already felt like my second home. And once I met Dr. Bernata and Dr. Reed and talked to them about the dietetics program, they convinced me. Like I loved them, and I definitely felt like that was where I needed to be. So coming here, it was really nice because there's such a community, and everyone's so kind that you just feel welcome all the time. And so it kind of showed me and reminded me that there's so much good in people that a lot of people don't realize. My mom raised my sister and I, and my dad was never really involved in our lives. And So my mom and my sister became my ultimate best friends. Like, I talk to my mom probably every other day, if not more. And she has shaped me into the person I think I am today, and that she's taught me so much about being positive and just the importance of family, and that we don't need everything to be happy. And that's kind of made me who I am and why I want to be a dietitian and change people's lives. And even it's in the small things. I mean, nutrition is a big part of people's lives, but they don't always think about it. And just one small change could impact their life in such an incredible way. So I think my mom is a huge part of that. I moved around a lot, and I think that shaped me in that I've been able to adapt to things more easily, and it made me realize that my home doesn't need to be a building. It can be the people that I'm surrounded by, and that really is your home, the people that you're with. So I think just me moving around so much has affected me in more of a positive way than a negative.
I'm pretty sure my mom just decided, you're playing t-ball now, and I played, and then I realized I liked sports, and then I got into football and then basketball. The second I figured out that I could play sports, I realized that I like competition. I would like to at some point become a physical therapist. I mean, that's really all I want to do, just move away from Ohio where it's warmer. The exercise science program here I think is a pretty good program, and then like just being in college in general is going to help me towards my goals in life. So basically, because of injuries that I've had and had to have work done on me, like for instance my back, I've had physical therapy all sorts of times from it, playing like football and basketball in high school, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just interesting to me to see what they do and how they fix it, and just like everything about a body of a human just interests me for some reason. I just like knowing about it. That's basically what exercise science is, learning how your body works.
I started playing softball at a really young age, and I decided that I really wanted to play in college, and Division I was obviously my biggest goal, so that's what I wanted to do. And then I like being around sports so much, I realized that that's what I wanted to work with. At first I thought that, well, that was my favorite school, and I wanted to play Division I softball, so I thought that would be my best option because I really just love the campus and the school. I transferred whenever I would plan to go all 4 years there no matter what, but then my coach and I ended up not getting along at all. I was pretty much verbally abused by my coach, so it wasn't the best situation, and so I had to leave and try to play somewhere else. Coming here and playing softball and seeing our coach is amazing now, so knowing that the two coaches there would do anything for you, and the teammates too are just amazing. Just the people that surround you and the culture overall, I think, is just great, and it's made a definite positive impact on my life. Softball is just, it's made me work harder, made me realize how hard you can work and how passionate you can be about something, and it gives you those extra people that, you meet so many new people, and you get to know people from different backgrounds, just completely different stories, and getting to know people is a huge part of that. And like I said, I think it teaches you a lot of values.
There's always a reason for everything. Like, even at my worst moments, I look back and it completely opened a door for me. So even if you think you're at your lowest point and things aren't going to get better, it always does. And that's the one thing that has been proven to me over and over and over again.
If there's anything you've ever thought you might want to possibly do ever in your entire life, and you can have a chance to do it at Ashland or in college or anything like that, definitely go out there and do it.
say I love you and mean it, and like cherish the moments that we do have with our loved ones and our friends.
Whether you believe in God or not, like, find purpose in your life, you know? I mean, your life is so much bigger than just you. And, I mean, if you're just living your life to please yourself, it's meaningless, you know? Like find something that you're passionate about that helps other people. And I think that that's where people draw happiness, like true lasting happiness from, is dedicating their lives to like something bigger than themselves.
College is there so that you can change yourself and change the direction that you're going and really realize, you know, who you are and what you want to be.
I just live life to the fullest. It's way too short, and so like, and having kids just makes it go by way much faster. One day turns into it already. It's like a year that's gone by. So just take every moment you can.
If you have like a dream, even if it seems absurd, like just at least try. Like, you have the dream for a reason. Like, maybe you're meant to do this. Maybe you're going to be the best person for this job, and you won't know and you won't be able to contribute if you don't at least try. So I would say at least always try to follow your dreams, even if they're like crazy.
Don't give up, like keep pushing through. Things can be hard at that point in time, but they will get better.
Go out, meet people, like figure out who the humans of Ashland are and get to know them, because there's a lot of great people here. Have fun. Don't take things too seriously. Enjoy yourself. And don't get discouraged. Things will seem like they're bad sometimes, but they're not. And hopefully, like for me, I know I'll look back on this place and really be happy that this was the choice I made, and other people will too.
Go Eagles.